For the evaluation segment, we will ask our evaluators to give us their feedback on the speeches this morning. Our first evaluator is Tim Gibson. He has been a member of the Articulators Club for the last 4 years, something. In that time, he has learned that evaluations are a critical part of the learning process for public speaking. Much can be learned from listening to others, so let us listen to Tim Gibson.
One of the things that we look forward to as an evaluator is an icebreaker. Why we look forward to it? Because it's probably the easiest speech to evaluate. Typically you would get up here and say something like, well, don't focus so much on your notes, watch your ums and ahs, use a little bit more hand gestures. But that's not the case today. As we look at Reid's speech, one of the things we probably always want to focus on, what were his strong points? Reid, you have great vocal variety when you speak. You have a voice already, and that's probably one of the most difficult things for speakers to develop when they start speaking and come to the club, is to actually kind of figure out what your voice is to speak with. And you've got a great voice, a great vocal variety. You're already well into your uses of gestures in your speech. A few things I'd like to talk about, we'll get to those in a second. Probably the other thing about an icebreaker that we always focus on is how well did the audience get to know you? And that's, as you stated earlier in your speech, you're not available to give details of your life free of charge. And I think that set the tone for your speech, because obviously using humor is a great thing in giving speeches, and you have a great sense of humor, that's obvious. It's also a pretty good indication of deep psychological issues. Using humor to deflect. Again, I'm sure we'll revisit that in some future speeches. Did the speech reflect adequate preparation? Yes, it did. You obviously were well prepared for your speech. You had an outline. I could see that you briefly referred to your notes during points of your speech, which is fine when you're giving your icebreaker. Did the speaker talk clearly and audibly? Yes, I think you had a very strong presence at the lecture. One of the things I did notice, however, in the beginning, you were very much about clasping your hands. You did a lot of this, and at some point you sort of started doing the Johnny Carson kind of step back and kind of coming off your heels a little bit, and I think that's probably a reflection of your style, though. So I was really focused on that today, because I was wondering what you were going to be doing with your variety, with your gestures with your hands. So notice that a little bit. Not that that necessarily is wrong. That may just be part of your personal style of giving speeches. So as we watch you in future speeches, see what you're doing in that, we'll probably maybe have some comments about that as well. Did the speech have a definite opening, body, and conclusion? Yes, it did. And one of the things we will ask you to be working on as you move forward is obviously to use your notes less and less as you go forward. I really didn't see that you used them very heavily. You did glance at them a few times, which is good. So that's a good start, great speech. Probably the only other thing that I would ask you to work on in your speech is really your eye contact with the audience. You actually looked around the room quite a bit during your speech, but your eyes were actually kind of all really above everyone's head. And quite a number of times you actually looked at the ceiling. You glanced upward. So when you're giving your next speech, actually make a conscious effort as you look around the room to actually focus on individuals in the room, kind of pause on them as you do that. It may actually make a more effective speech. You'll connect better with the audience. So that's kind of one of my things I'd like you to focus on in your next opportunity to speak. What did we really learn about Reid in the end? It's probably the biggest question, because this is an icebreaker. We're supposed to find out about you and some of the things that have gone on in your life. Obviously, you have a great aptitude for humor. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what you're going to be doing with future speeches. So thank you very much for your time today.